Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. We've got Marla on here too. Excellent.
Barbara.
Her audio's yeah, hers is still connecting, it says, so. She can't talk to us yet.
How has your day been?
Very good. What about yours?
Boring.
Oh,
I spent the afternoon doing laundry.
no, that's no fun. Necessary, but not fun. We recorded worship yesterday.
Laundry.
Yeah. We recorded worship yesterday, so I spent the day editing video clips.
Oh, okay. Is that for tomorrow night?
There will be a short one for tomorrow night, and then we also recorded a full, I recorded that one here at home, and then a longer, a full service for Sunday morning.
Sunday morning? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But there, you will get one, you'll get an email tomorrow morning with the link for tomorrow's service.
Okay. Oh, she's back.
No sound still, though.
There's, oh, it looks like Pat coming in.
I think that's Paul and Marcia coming in.
Marcia, okay.
Oh, yeah, that looked like a Paul chin.
Yeah, that's Paul. That's Paul. Now I see Paul. I just caught the corner of her face a minute ago. I thought at first it was Pat.
Marla, you have sound now, but you're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you, Marla. There's a button at the bottom of your screen that should say mute.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can. That'll do it.
Okay. I had to get Joseph to help me.
I had to have my kids teach me how to use all this stuff. So.
Hey, at least you got a kid available that can do it for you.
Yeah.
There's Miss Angie.
They say you should use this quarantine time to learn a skill, but I think we're all learning skills here with all this technology stuff.
That's true. And I was thinking, I'm surprised that there aren't more people participating in this Wednesday night. Do you think it's because of the challenge for people with Zoom or, technology?
Could be. I don't know. I mean, there aren't a lot of people that come on Wednesdays when we're doing it at church either, so I tried to keep that in mind.
Okay.
But I think some of it is technology. I tried to offer at the beginning, and maybe I should make another offer now that we're in it a little bit farther, saying if you don't know how to do this, or if you don't have the technology or the equipment, if you'll let us know, we've got volunteers who are willing to help you set it up.
Okay.
So maybe I should put out another, I'm gonna make myself a note.
I was just talking to Jeanette and asked her about the Bible study, and she said that she doesn't have a camera on her computer, so she can't do it.
She can probably still, if she can see us, it will just be like, it'll have her name on the screen rather than a photo with it, rather than her picture. So we could do that. You could have just the audio. That would be better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I also wonder if people don't, it used to be you had to buy a webcam and hook it on the top of your computer. And they're also, everybody has those somewhere. There's a whole, people have drawers of them. So, that might be something we could say, who's got a webcam we could donate to people who want them.
I have one on top of my computer right now and don't use it.
Yeah, that used to be, before computers had them built in, that's what you had to do. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How
I have to
far?
remember to keep my hand away from the camera. Looks like Barbara's here.
yes,
I'm here.
oh, we can't
You're
see
here.
you, but we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I didn't know I was going to be on camera, so I decided not to do that tonight.
Oh, okay, that's fine. We'll take just your voice.
This is my friend Barb Havens from Cincinnati.
Hi, Barb.
Hi, Barb.
Buddy.
Hello.
Hi, Barb.
I
Hello.
was Barb's pastoral mentor. She's a commissioned lay pastor in the Presbyterian of Cincinnati. And I was her mentor for how many years now, Barb?
Many.
Almost
20?
25 years. 25 years at least. So
I was a lay pastor before I went to seminary, so I have a great appreciation for what you do.
Oh. But I know of others that have gone that route. I was too old.
oh, you're never too old. Now stop it.
We had a lady in her 70s in my seminary graduating class. So
We had an 86-year-old in my class.
around.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, there's Sarah.
Sarah's here.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Let's see. Katina and Bill and Marcia and Paul and Angie. Is that it?
You should
Marla.
see-
Marla's here.
Oh, hey, Marla. Okay.
Hi.
Good, good.
And my friend Barb Havens is there, but she doesn't have a picture up.
Okay.
You have to imagine what she looks like.
Oh, I'm getting a beautiful picture.
You're a supermodel in our eyes, Barb.
Yeah, I'm going to disappoint you when I go on camera.
I doubt it.
Oh, you always look good. Now stop. She
Mine.
has snow white hair.
Oh, I'm envious.
It's easy. You just stop using the bottle.
No, I tried that. It wasn't pretty like yours, Marcia.
I used the bottle for a long time.
Well, I didn't for a while, and it was not. I would not recommend it. Angie, how y'all doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yay, good.
sitting outside.
Oh, you're actually
Beautiful,
sitting outside.
beautiful
Huh?
day. Absolutely beautiful.
I'm watching the rain move in.
Well,
on my
waiting
back
for the
porch.
storm, I guess.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Pittsburgh got hit pretty
I can see
hard.
it in the distance.
Yeah.
But it's nice to feel the breeze.
Yeah.
Well, Pittsburgh got hit pretty hard yesterday with, I guess, a light tornado touching. But so, and I think that's going to be on our way. So with tonight, I
Supposedly
thought we're getting storms, right?
about 4
Yes.
a.m.
Yes, we're getting storms tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all got woke up by tornado warning at 1 o'clock last night. So
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
you disappeared.
We'll get it about
Paul
Well,
believes, he was looking at in telecast, he believes that
maybe 2 a.m.
he says it's coming at 2 a.m. And I'll tell you what, he told me, I had Wash on the line on Monday, and he said, it's going to start raining at 2 o'clock. And I promise you, at 2 exactly is when it started raining. And I'm out there running like crazy, trying to close down.
This is Paul. You should never doubt his estimation.
Right. So listen to Paul.
You telecast has nothing to do
And
with
Katina, I want you to know I watched the video and I wrote down my notes.
Oh, what about that? It was a
I
good
am
one. I'm glad
ready.
you saw it. This is one of my favorites we've watched, so I'm happy
It was a
about
good
that.
one. Yeah.
It was. Well, let's go ahead and start. It's a little after 6:30. Let's go ahead and I'll open this with prayer, and then we'll dive in just a second. Let's pray together. Holy One, we give you thanks for this space. We give you thanks that you reach out across the miles and draw us together as one. We give you thanks for the miracle of modern technology, which makes this meeting possible. We give you thanks for friends who reach out and touch each other, even when touching is not possible. We give you thanks. And so, God, we ask that you would open our hearts and our minds to what you have to say to us today, that you would help us to lead each other closer to you, and that we would find this time to be enlightening and fulfilling. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to see all of you. I did send a video out. Barb, I don't know if you got it. Did everyone else, did you get the video? Were you able to get to it and watch it?
Yes.
Yep.
yes.
And I told you I'd give you a pass. There's no shaming if you didn't watch it. It was long. It was longer than I normally give you. So if you didn't, that's totally okay. But it was a good one, I thought. So
Yeah,
I
my
watched
response
it.
to it was, wow.
I did get to watch it.
you did get to watch it. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, then just share with me what before I made some notes, and you may have as well, but share with me what thoughts. Bill actually texted me after he watched it, so we've already talked a little bit about his initial impression. But what do you all think?
Well, my initial impression, as I texted you yesterday, was, wow. She was right on, spot on, as far as I was concerned about the table and being at the table together as a community and so on. And just the whole concept of the gifts of God for the people of God. That's what rang true for me.
And that we receive the elements. We don't take them.
We don't take them, we receive
Everything
them.
is a gift. Yeah.
It's a gift. Yes.
What I came away with was we don't give God, Christ, the Trinity enough credit. Many times I think we want them to fit our mold rather than having us embrace their mold. And I liked your idea about we don't need to wear a cross, we need to wear a circle or to represent the table where everybody has a place. And I like that the cross was simply evil messing up the plan for a day or so.
Yes.
And anyway, and then the fact that it didn't last.
I like the
other piece
idea.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bill.
Oh, go ahead.
I like the idea of abundance. You know, that God's grace never runs out. And, you know, when things are hard, we tend to forget that.
Yeah. We don't always stop to look at the abundance that surrounds us. You know, we always looking, oh, I need that, I need this, I want that, I want this, instead of looking at what we already have, giving thanks for that and receiving that as the gift.
I heard on actually NPR tonight. They were talking about, these were national. One was New York Times, one was Washington Post, and they were talking about their thoughts. And one of them was saying sometimes we dwell too much on how bad we have it. And he said the people that are getting through this the best seem to be those who might have it really bad, but they see people that have it worse, and that they reach out and use God's gifts to, well, he didn't say use God's gifts, but I would, that we use the gifts that we are given to help make the lot better for people that they perceive as having it worse than they do. Yes. So anyway.
One thing I noticed,
you talked about,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, the thing about the abundance was the one that struck me the most in terms of in terms of how we take things for granted, but we don't take time to thank God for what we've been given in terms of that and the abundance that has been given to us.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, abundance was kind of the word that she repeated all throughout. I wrote it in big letters at the top of my notes, abundance. And it's not one that I have often, I will confess, that I have often associated with Maundy Thursday. Abundance is not a word that if you had asked me to just make a stream of consciousness, list of words that come to mind when I hear Maundy Thursday, abundance probably would not have been anywhere near the top of my list. And I love that she has reframed the way that I look at it. So lovely and so timely.
It was interesting that,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, it was interesting to me that the extreme importance that she placed on, as she called it, Holy Thursday, Maundy Thursday, about the fact that in her mind was the most important day of that week. Rather even than Good Friday, because Maundy Thursday was the day when Jesus actually let the disciples in on the whole secret of his message and his ministry. So that, it's like that's when the apostles started. That's when they actually became apostles.
Yeah, good observation. I love that. One thing, towards the beginning of her talk, she started talking about how every day we experience abundance, whether we recognize it or not. Every day we are just flooded with abundance. And she listed off a few things. She said that our very lives we're given every single day. We are given a new day. And so our very lives are a gift of abundance. Water is just an endless supply in my house. I turn on the tap and it comes out, and I never stop to think, oh, what a wonderful thing that God has made enough water for all of us. And there's food for all. It may not get to where it needs to be, but there is plenty of food. And we have friends, and we have family, and we have all these things. And she said the first step in our journey here is to recognize that and appreciate the very abundance that we are given. And I wrote that down, and then she said, and the second step, and she got interrupted. And the interviewer asked her a question, and she never came back to it. So what do you think is the second, what do you think she was going to say? We have to speculate. The whole time I was like, come on, go back to that. I have step 2, and I left it. What is the second step? Step 1 is to appreciate it. Step 2, what do you think? What do you do then?
I think it's to give thanks back to God, saying thank you for what you've given me, and then being able to move beyond that and reach out beyond yourself to someone else. And that's essentially what the table does. Jesus offers his body and his blood to us, and we are to go forth and offer our body and our blood in service to God, just as he did. That's the way I see it anyway. I don't know if that was her second step or not. I'm not sure.
We have to speculate. I think that's a good one. Sort of a pay it forward.
Oh, you brought your friend, Marla?
Yes, the little yapper.
Let you laugh. Well, at least mine won't come near me. He'll just sit at there and bark at me the whole time.
I forgot to close the front drapes before I sat down.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Let me turn this on mute. I'm sorry.
No problem.
No problem.
Any other ideas of what you think after we recognize our own abundance, the abundance we live in, then what do we do with that? What would you, if you were making the video, what would you say should be our response? You're muted, Sarah. We can't hear you.
If you go by Bloom, you would say the next step would be to verbalize it, which would go along with what Bill said, to when you recognize it, to be able to name your gifts, to name them, and because when you name them, then you can use them. So anyway, verbalize it and then utilize it.
I like that. Verbalize it, utilize it. I like that.
I think that's what Paul is getting at when he lists this very spiritual gifts that he offers in several different places. And to use those gifts for the common good is what we're called to do, is to use those gifts. The other thing that got me in, that she talked about, was the whole concept of freedom. With Passover being today, that really struck home to me. Passover is when, that was the beginning of the Jewish consciousness of God and trusting in a God who is going to provide for them, even though it doesn't look like it's going to happen. They still trusted enough to follow. And that's what I think Jesus is trying to get us to do too. She talked about, each time Jesus invites people, he always doing it at a meal, or has done so at a meal. And even after his death, in each of the appearances that are there, she talked about that. It's always at a meal. He's talking to his disciples at a meal, sharing the abundance that he has brought to us. And that abundance is what we find our freedom in, the abundance that we've been given. I think that's what struck me the most about that. I wish she had said that years ago when I was in seminary, because I heard her speak a couple of times, and she'd come right up to it, but she never got that far with it, and I was kind of surprised to hear that she finally pulled it out so that I understood what she was talking about better now than I did before. So I am familiar with her work. So
she talked about scarcity too.
Yes.
That the Pharaoh kept the Israelites in scarcity. They had, and when they were out in the wilderness, they said, well, at least we had food, we should go back. But it was a scarcity kind of situation that they were living in, and that was true under the Roman rule as well. And I think about our lives, and how often do we think, oh, well, we don't have as much as we should, or if I only had, name it, life would be so much better. But we forget the abundance that God gives us, that because of what Jesus did for us, and she talked about the Last Supper being the first feast, and I really liked that image, that Jesus is saying, you don't have to live in scarcity. I have the fullness of life for you. And that kind of struck me.
Yeah.
Along those lines, when she talked about scarcity, she made the comment that scarcity is not a reality in this universe, that it is an illusion created by someone in power.
That's right.
And I thought that was really, do you agree with that? Scarcity is an illusion?
Mm-hmm.
I
Especially
think
in our life.
I think it's very true. Look at the way the world is and what's here. there is enough here in this world for everybody, and no reason for somebody to go hungry in this world. There's enough to go around.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough to satisfy our needs, our wants. It's when it becomes used as a weapon against people. It's
But
when it
that
becomes.
means those who have need to share with those who have not, or to, you know, ones, it's only scarce when people make it scarce. There is abundance, but we have to be able to share in that abundance, not just keep it.
Right.
And what happens when we get greedy? I mean, Bible story after Bible story, in the very beginning, in the garden, there's plenty of food of all varieties. There's just one tree you can't eat from. What do? That's the one they want. That if you can't have it, I want it. And
They went native together.
yeah, with the manna,
Yeah.
take only what you need. Don't. And what do? They stored it up. We got it. I need more. It's gross, but I want it. It's mine. And so in that case, I think that would be biblical evidence for the scarcity being an illusion, that you've got all of this. And what is it that creates it's our humanity that creates the illusion of scarcity. Sometimes a person in power who's hoarding all of the things, and sometimes it's our own humanity wanting more. It's not enough. Always wanting more. You all mentioned the idea of receiving communion versus taking communion, and I'm glad that I watched this before I did this week's worship service, so that I could sort of process that myself, because I think that's a really powerful difference between the two. What's the difference between receiving communion and taking communion?
Well, to me, you receive as a gift. You take because you want it. You take it, not necessarily that you need it. It would be a gift. It's you take it whether somebody wants to give it to you or not. So I think that's the idea about the fact that if we had more of an attitude of gratitude, of receiving gifts rather than taking things.
Right, she made the comment, there cannot be a receiver without, do you remember what she said? Without
a giver.
Without a giver, exactly right, there cannot be. So I think I think you're right on, Sarah, that one of the primary differences is if you take communion, you don't necessarily have a giver. You may have a loser if you take something, but receiving, you have a giver. And obviously, I think we're all on the same page that giver is God.
Well, and something just came to me.
Sure, go ahead.
Catch it while it's still there. Taking is an active. It's active. It's something that you do.
Oh, right.
Receiving is passive. It's something that is done for you, or it's something that, and I don't think we as many humans like to be in a passive role, as in to receive. Most of us want to be the active one who, or in the American population anyway, the active one who goes and gets, rather than receiving, which also kind of means waiting, which we don't like to do.
I wrote that down. I hadn't thought of it that way, but I love that idea of the difference between being an active versus passive participant. It is uncomfortable for us to be passive participants, isn't it? We want to feel like we can participate in our own salvation somehow. We want to do something, and just to say it's a gift and receive it is uncomfortable.
I think that's part of grace. Yeah, that's part of grace, and that we have to grow. To me, I know I do. I have to grow into a place where I can receive grace, so that you can grace other people. So, anyway.
But the reality is, the grace is always there for you.
Yes.
Yeah. She made the comment too, there is no such thing as a pure benefactor. There's no such thing as someone, the top of the pyramid, this person is giving graciously, because she says you cannot give until you have received. Do you agree with that? Or do you see someone at the top?
That is kind of the point that she was making about the Christ's realm that he wants for everyone. There is no top. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a place at the table. Everyone should share. Everyone should converse. Everyone gives, and everyone is a giver. Everyone is a receiver. Everyone is a blesser. Everyone can be blessed. But she was bringing up the fact that the hierarchy is more of a Roman thing, or something of the power. Somebody has to be at the top, and some churches, unfortunately, are organized that way. The way she was bringing it out would be, if we really embrace what Christ is all about, it's like we're not concerned with who's at the top and who's at the bottom, because nobody should be either way. We're all in this together.
Right.
I liked when the interviewer asked her something about, well, how do you be the winner? And she kind of laughed and said, it's never been about winning. It's about loving.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you all can see at the top of your screen, I guess our luck ran out with the extra time. We have 9 minutes and 6 seconds. It will, when it gets to 0, boot us all off. That's the way it is. So it's not me. I love you and I'd spend all day with you, but it will boot us off. So if that happens, you'll know. So I guess we need to move on then. I'm going to put on, we're not going to have time to read all of this because of our time limitation, but I have for you, she mentioned a line, but didn't say where it came from. And so I thought we better have a peek at it. This is from Psalm 78. She said at one point, can God set us a table in this wilderness? And I wanted to call attention to the fact that that is a quote from scripture from Psalm 78. That's actually 78 verse 19. And I'll let you read this on your own since we were short on time. I'll encourage you to read Psalm 78 on your own. But you can sort of see this psalm. Oh, we've got somebody coming. This psalm is all about the Passover. This is all about people turning their back on God's goodness. God is good. God is abundant. God gives. And what do we do? But we want more. We grumble. It's not enough. We need more. We need more. Midway here, I don't know, can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Does that show up for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Can God spread a table in the wilderness? Even though he struck the rock so that water gushed out and torrents overflowed, can he also give bread or provide meat for his people? So it's never enough. It's never, there's always one more. And then how does God respond? Well, the Lord heard, he was full of rage. But what does he do? Go down to the bottom. Mortals ate of the bread of angels. He sent them food in abundance. He caused the east wind to blow in the heavens, and by his power he led out the south wind. He rained flesh upon them like dust, winged birds on the sand of the seas. He let them fall within their camp all around their dwellings. They ate and were well filled, for he gave them what they craved. And isn't that good news for us? That even when we grumble and try to be takers, that God does not stop giving, that God is good anyway. What are your reflections on that? How does that sit with you?
Well, throughout the testaments, both the testaments, there are moments when God is always giving us something. Giving us what we need. It's not necessarily what we want, it's what we need in that particular given moment. I think of when it was Elijah, when he grumbled and complained about being treated so badly, and he goes off into the cave, and then God comes to him and says, what are you doing here? Why are you here? You need to be out here doing this, this, and this. And he says, well, nobody listens to me. And at that point, the still small voice comes and says, trust in me. That's what we're supposed to do. in terms of that.
So is Maundy Thursday good news? You know, you hear of the good news of Easter Sunday. We don't often talk about Maundy Thursday in terms of good news. But Diana Butler Bass made the bold claim that it is. You agree?
For me, yes.
Yeah, the video last night certainly did put forth the idea that the crux of Holy Week was Maundy Thursday, because that's when he let them in on how he wanted his kingdom to be, so that it didn't stop with Good Friday, that it went on after.
Well, it's a new era coming, so I think that's what I got out of it. You know, when I was at the service last year at Maundy Thursday, it's like I sobbed and then I was crying and stuff. So it was like this video kind of turned it a little bit different page to it's a new beginning, and I love the end of the whole video service, a series of thing about the cross, that he didn't go to the cross and said, this is what they did to me. It's, you know, this is what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, I did too. He came around
because I think I mean, us as humans, was that this is what they did to me, you know, and it's not about that at all.
And what did he say on the cross to everyone? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it they did it to Jesus, but he offered himself. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like he didn't go, he wasn't crazy about, you know, doing it. You know, he said, Father, if it be in thy will, please, you know, get it off.
Take this cup away from me.
But he knew it had to be done. Therefore, he offered himself.
And I loved her assertion that they were not killing Jesus, although, I mean, they did kill Jesus, but the goal was to kill the table. The goal was to destroy that fellowship, to destroy that sense of abundance, and we don't often recognize that the goal was to tear apart the very thing that we're trying to cling to right now, that togetherness.
The fact that we're still taking that as part of our monthly partaking.
Yeah.
And the Romans thought they were taking Jesus' life and never realized he was giving it.
Right.
It was still about giving and receiving, wasn't it? Even at the time they were trying to take it, but you can't take something that's being given freely. It's receiving it.
And what I got from Maundy Thursday was the fact that your term of fellowship, I think is right, is the fact that Maundy Thursday was all about fellowship. Mm-hmm. And they might kill a person, but started the fellowship. And like Angie said, it was a whole new era. So I think what we need to keep our eyes on is the fact that we are cogs in a wheel. We are one part of a great fellowship. So.
Absolutely. We're down under 2 minutes, and I don't want you to leave without me praying with you. So let's pray, and then we'll see if we've got any time. Let's pray. Holy One, we give you thanks for your table, and we give you thanks that although we have tried to destroy it in every way we can think of, that you just continue to add to your table, and that you continue to add to your abundance. And we just ask that you would help us to open our eyes to that abundance, and that we would be receivers and not takers, and that we would give as freely as we receive. Help us to live in the fellowship that you died to create. And we ask that you would help us this Holy Week to be aware of the way that your presence creates that fellowship within us. We give you thanks, oh God, and we lift you up on this Holy Week. Amen.
Amen.
1 minute, look at that. Sorry, I don't know. We can buy the extended version of Zoom and pay money, or we can keep watching the timer. But this is wonderful. I'm so glad to see you all. You will get in your email tomorrow morning a short Maundy Thursday service to watch for tomorrow night. And I hope that this helps you to reframe what you're experiencing. And then of course, Easter Sunday, it'll be a weird Easter without you all, but Easter will still come.
Yes. Easter always comes.
Easter comes every Sunday, every Sunday.
Every Sunday is Easter Sunday.
Absolutely.
Miss you all.
Yes, I miss you all very much. We need to set up just a Zoom fellowship where we can just chat. And that's what I said it last week and I didn't do it. So I'm going to write it down this time. So.
Gee, it's not just me.
I know, we need to just talk. We miss each other, don't we? And Barbara, it was nice to meet you. I see Judy came in. I don't know if she can actually, she's here, but I don't know if she can hear or see us. So